Yeah, and a lot of that too just comes down to narratives that have been kind of forced on us, like that generation. Like specifically, I would say for mine, it would be like you're expected to be this boss babe and be pulling in all of these numbers and hours at work, but also you can also be a full-time mom. And no matter what, there's a
Right.
sacrifice that's going to be made, and people don't want to admit that. If you're going to be a CEO of a company and you also decide to have kids as a woman, there's going to be a sacrifice on both, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to be as present a mother as if you didn't work. And you're
Right.
not going to be as badass of a CEO as if you didn't have children. So
Yeah.
you can make that decision to do both, but understand that there is a cost.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And also you have to be pretty and, you know, demure and thin and cute and all those things. I would say part of my divine masculine expression is recognizing that when a woman is, when she has a family, when she creates life, when she conjures life out of thin air and brings a human into the world and is a mom, that is boss bitch, right?
100%.
That is, I mean, like, I humble myself. I bow to that.
It's magic.
I mean, I could load, wood for the rest of my life and I wouldn't be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So, kudos to you for
Thanks.
that incredible power and strength. And
It's
thank you.
interesting. It's interesting too that we took the value away from that. Like we almost like pew pew at women that decide to do that, and it's like, oh well, you're taking the easy lazy thing. You're just deciding to just be a mom, and like you have no idea unless you've done it, and it's a very powerful thing. Like there's like a huge spiritual transition that happens with it, and obviously like there's this connection that has, I would say, with like Earth. That's what we call it, Mother Earth, right? Like it's the ability to create life. And I'm like, I don't think any spreadsheet is more powerful than creating a little human. So I think it's really important to kind of tell these young women, this is very powerful work. It doesn't make you lesser than. And I would venture to say, just even based off my own experience, there's no job, paycheck, or status that's going to make you feel the way that having a child makes you feel.
Amen.
Amen. It's going to get me a lot of shit, I'm sure.
You think?
Probably. Because people, like, the narrative right now is like, you don't need a man, or you're equal partners. And it's not to say that you're not, but it like you're the same. Like there's no difference between you and a man, especially in a relationship. I don't know if you know this, but like we're not having kids anymore. It's like for the first time in history, it's the lowest it's ever been. So there's the most unmarried, non-mothers in like the millennial generation ever. So, but and you also have this crisis of identity and purpose and fulfillment. It's like, I'm not going to say cause and effect, but I am saying like you can look at a lot of the red flags here and see like maybe we're not putting enough value on connection and family anymore.
Well, if you're going to catch shit,
yeah,
we're in it together.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm in it with you. But it is interesting. I just, it just occurred to me that with all of this desire to be individual and have your own expression and your identity is unique and special, and yet we want to clump together in all these broad categories, masculine, feminine, different race groups. We are all so special and unique just by default. None of us are the same. It's like to describe anyone would take a lifetime. And yet language is shorthand, so why do we want to hold on to these identities, these words? It's really irrelevant, and this is just out of convenience. We use the words to try and express, but close your eyes, breathe, meditate, and then that is truth. And it is just your special, unique expression, whoever you are, masculine, feminine, black, white, red, whatever. So yeah, it just occurred to me that language is so insufficient.
Mm-hmm. They say that we won't be talking in the future.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, like you'll have Neuralink and you'll be able to read minds, and that because language is so limited that you're going to have a lot better communication without. Like, what is that going to be like? How much more are you going to learn about each other and yourself?
And I've been practicing, and my intuition, I'm proud to say, has been cultivated more and more over the years. There is at a time when I was up my own ass, where I was all head and cock.
Mm-hmm.
Like I communicated on two wavelengths, intellectually and like sexually, and the whole, heart and intuition was offline. And when I stopped getting in my own thoughts and in my own brain and then my other brain, I started to feel more. And sometimes feeling is painful. It hurts. There's no wonder I was trying not to feel. I was trying to numb those feelings, because it can be painful, especially if you have trauma, which, we all do, and I did. But as I started to work through that trauma, start to purge some of it and let some of it go, there's a little voice that's nonverbal, that's emotional, that's intuitive, that I started to feel things out in the world. And I didn't need to talk. I could, I'd go on a date, and instead of telling myself, oh yeah, she's objectifying her and she loves me and this is what she wants, this is what I'm gonna do to get her, and I started to feel into her, I would realize she's not for me. This isn't right. This date is basically a friendship. And I never had that before. I could never really dip into like the truth of a relationship, because I was too busy in the stories in my head that I was projecting.